Start clean with Clorox, because Clorox delivers a powerful clean every time. Because messes happen. Because...
Hey, listen. Remember how you told me to toss those takeout containers before we left for vacation? And you were like, I'm serious. If that leaks over the counter, it'll be a slimy abomination by the time I get back. And I was like, yeah, of course. Don't worry about it. I won't forget. Well...
Ooh, yeah, that happens. So start clean with Clorox. Use Clorox products as directed. Rinse after use if in contact with food surface.
I'm Chris Hahn, the Aggressive Progressive. Check out a new episode of the Aggressive Progressive podcast every Tuesday. You know, the election is heating up just as the year is winding down. Stick with me. I'll tell you the truth as I see it. Download the Aggressive Progressive on Pandora or wherever you get your podcasts.
The history of the Coup is one that has always been interesting to me, and I never knew, obviously, just like a lot of stuff, I never knew as much about the depth of it or all the real stories, but he has had to fight much harder than most artists. Just in the way that the labels have dealt with him, he's just had real crappy luck in his early career, and it's so dope for me to now see him doing better than ever because he stuck with it, and it was not easy. I mean, everything that could have happened to basically be like, Boots, just stop making music. This is not working for you. And he was just like, screw you. I can't. This is what I want to do. It's what I feel I'm called to do, and I do it. But I think really what happened was he, with Breathing Apparatus after Genocide and Juice, basically the label started being Wild Pitch and EMI were kind of in having all these kind of issues with the distribution, and it was affecting the way that his group was being promoted and money that was coming to him and things like that. And I mean, it's very difficult to keep fighting when people are just pushing you around and it doesn't seem to be working, and sometimes you just say, like, okay, so is this the universe trying to tell me that I just need to maybe do something else? And I honestly think he was just worn down, and he said, I've tried so damn hard and I'm trying to do something important, and I think it's important, but everyone just seems to be kind of putting up all these roadblocks. So he was able to fall back because he was a community activist and organizer, that he said, maybe I'll just clear my head. And he didn't say that at the time. He said, forget it, I'm done. I walked away from it. In the process, as he walked away from it, E-Rock from the group was like, well, I got to take a job. Like they offered me this really dope job, and so I'm going to take it. And so then all of a sudden his second MC was gone. And so it basically ended up being a hiatus, but he was just basically very frustrated, and I don't blame him, to be honest with you. Then they came back, put out Steal This Album. Then he had all these other issues with Dog Day, with the label that they put it out on, and then it was like, oh my God! So I come out of retirement, and here we go again. And then they did Party Music, which you probably remember had the original cover was the World Trade Center being blown up. Clearly the worst luck of all time. Then that happened, so he's just constantly had to remain positive and try and do his thing, because keep in mind too, he also had a live group that he was touring with at that point and had to keep them on the road. So and Boots has never gone the easy way, and that's kind of why I think his fans appreciate it, because he's the least sellout artist there is in the music industry, and that's kind of beautiful that he's figured out a way after so many years of making a living. Now he has a great label behind him who's still an indie, but very supportive, and he's touring and making really different kind of music that still makes sense. And so he's one of my favorite success stories, because there are a lot of people who would have just thrown in the towel 10, 15 years ago, and he just kept at it, and it's worked, and he came out the other end, and he's doing great now. So
I'm Chris Hahn, the Aggressive Progressive. Check out a new episode of the Aggressive Progressive podcast every Tuesday. The election is heating up just as the year is winding down. Stick with me. I'll tell you the truth as I see it. Download The Aggressive Progressive on Pandora or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, I'm Mark Goodman.
And I'm Alan Light.
On today's podcast, in celebration of International Guitar Month, Pete Townsend of The Who will join us.
Pete went deep with us into his relationship with the guitar and with music in general, the new Broadway version of Tommy. He clarified the status and the future of The Who, and much, much more.
Sound Up with Mark Goodman and Alan Light, the only music podcast that matters. Get it on Pandora, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.